Welcome to SoMAS. We have a variety of research projects that utilize our facilities at South Campus. For example, Dr. Charlie Flagg has a research project with the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation exploring the New York Bight using a Slocum glider. The glider is programmed to take trips out to the edge of the continental shelf and is seen here in front of the SoMAS sign outside of Endeavor Hall, where the Dean's office is located. The boathouse, built in 1990, is an experimental building made from municipal solid waste (MSW) ash blocks. The building is currently a single-story structure. 1,400 tons of municipal solid waste were combusted to produce the ash used in the fabrication of the blocks. This amount of municipal solid waste represents the amount of MSW generated by the town of Brookhaven in 2 days. 14,000 blocks were used to construct the boathouse. Dr. Frank Rothel's research on incineration ash was instrumental in the building's construction. Frank was one of SoMAS's first PhD graduates in 1981. The building is also in Ripley's Believe It or Not. This is the inside of the boathouse, where we store much of the oceanographic and atmospheric sampling equipment. It is also home to the Donald W. Pritchard when she is not out working. It is also a space where we can do large construction and repair projects. The conversion of the Pritchard to an oceanographic vessel took place here, as did the outfitting of the SoMAS radar science truck, and the construction and maintenance of the Great South Bay observation buoy. We recently added a lightboard studio, which provides a much better way of using the whiteboard when teaching. Instead of having your back turned to the camera, the whiteboard is replaced with a piece of glass. You write on the glass and look at the camera, creating a seamless way of using the board while lecturing and being able to maintain eye contact with your class. In our teaching lab, cameras are added to our microscopes to allow both for social distancing among students in the lab class, as well as providing a better viewpoint of creatures that you might see on screen. Pictured here is the RV Privateer, with a diver getting ready to change out acoustic receivers deployed off the south shore of Long Island. We are working here off Rockaway Beach. The program surgically implants transponders into many fish species, including sharks and sturgeon, and even blue crabs and horseshoe crabs. With partners up and down the East Coast, the fish are tracked as they move along the coast. SoMAS maintains the receivers along Long Island and the New York Bight area. The Donald W. Pritchard is a 28-foot aluminum-hulled vessel modified by SoMAS to do oceanographic research. The Pritchard can deploy most types of sampling gear. Here we are deploying a short head gravity core on the left, and on the right using a 3-point mooring to sample with a vibro core. The Pritchard has done a great deal of high-resolution bottom mapping using multi-beam sonar, as well as side-scan sonar and chirp sub-bottom profiling. Here we are set up with a dual head multi-beam on the bottom of the vessel and the side scan on a pole mount. Here is the dual head multi-beam set up on the bottom of the Pritchard. With it, we've mapped most of the Hudson River from the Troy Dam to Manhattan, as well as most of the bays around Long Island. We operate all year round as long as we don't get caught up in the ice. The paint is worn away in this picture because the previous winter we pushed the season in Great South Bay and had to steam through the ice to get the boat hauled out. There's not a lot of room in the cabin when we are running all 3 instruments at once. From right to left is the multi-beam, sub-bottom, and side scan data being collected. Not a whole lot of room on the deck either. That's the chirp sub-bottom on the right and the side scan on the left. When we start moving, we'll be towing the chirp off the port and the side scan off the starboard with the multi-beam mounted underneath. Sampling up the Hudson as part of the National Coastal Assessment Program. For this project, we collected water column data, temperature, salinity, dissolved oxygen, pH, turbidity, and chlorophyll, benthic data for species enumeration, sediment toxicity samples, and grain size, and fisheries data for species composition and tissue samples in coastal New York waters from Troy to Montauk. Along the way, the crew visited the Balmville tree in New York State's smallest state forest. Following up our mapping work in the Hudson River, we partnered with marine archaeologists to identify some of the wrecks present throughout that historically well-traveled waterway. The archaeologists took measurements of the vessel to try to identify them, or at least as to their type. Occasionally, they brought up an artifact to record what had been on board the vessel. The artifacts were all returned to the wreck to await a more thorough investigation. Diving in the river is quite a challenge, both with the high current velocities and the high sediment loads, which give you little to no visibility underwater. We also do a large amount of trawling in the bays around Long Island, New York Harbor, and in the Hudson. Trawling in the bays, the harbor, and the river is always a challenge, as you never know what's on the bottom that's going to tear through your net. Here we're repairing the trawl as we steam past Hudson Athens Lighthouse.